Good morning everyone and welcome back. This session is for class 7, subject social science, chapter number 10 of history, and the chapter is 18th century political formation. As we have already covered one of the lecture from this chapter, in which we have done how the Mughal emperors they were declining their power. How the powers of Mughal emperors was decreasing. So reasons for that, the crisis to the Mughal empire we have done. Then we have done that the new emerging states, those were coming in exist. So in that three categories we had taken the first category, that was the old Mughal provinces, that in which we have done Hyderabad, Awadh and Bengal. How the governors or the subedars they became owner of these provinces, and they started spreading their area, and they stopped following the orders of the Mughal emperors. Then second that we discussed, that was the Watan Jagirs, that we'll discuss in today's lecture. And third was seizing independence, the new states those were emerging. Clear? So it's going to be our lecture number 2. Now let's see the topics that we are going to cover today. The topics to be discussed in today's lecture are Watan Jagirs of Rajputs. Next is seizing independence, the Sikhs, the Marathas, the Jats. So in seizing independence, these three states we are going to take. Those were developing their power, those were increasing their areas during this particular time in 18th century. How they became powerful, and they started making themselves as independent states, and they were not following the rules of the Mughals there. So the development there in the Sikhs, the Marathas and Jats we'll discuss here. And then we'll take here in elsewhere the French Revolution it is described. So we'll take little about the French Revolution also. So let's start the topics one by one. Watan Jagirs of Rajputs. Rajputs, those were there in the Rajasthan area basically. And here we'll talk about the two famous Rajput states, two famous provinces, Jodhpur and Amer. Many Rajput kings, particularly those belonging to Amer and Jodhpur, had served under the Mughals, and they served with the distinction, means their work was excellent, and due to that the Mughal emperors they permitted them to enjoy considerably autonomy. Considerably autonomy means self-government. So they had their self-government there. They were permitted to enjoy considerable autonomy in their Watan Jagirs. The area that they had caught from the Mughals as Watan Jagirs, they were permitted to enjoy the considerably autonomy, means they were permitted to enjoy their self-government in the Jagirs, those they were the owners. Then Ajit Singh, the ruler of Jodhpur, was involved in the politics at the Mughal court. So here we are talking about the rulers particularly of Jodhpur and Amer. Ajit Singh was the ruler of Jodhpur, who was involved in different political affairs at the Mughal court. Raja Ajit Singh of Jodhpur held the governorship of Gujarat, and Savai Raja Jai Singh of Amer was governor of Malwa. Basically the power was influencing, so these two families, the Jodhpur and second was Amer, they claimed for subedari of the rich provinces, rich states like Malwa and Gujarat. They claimed for taking the that Subedari of these two rich provinces, and these Mughal emperor, who was the Mughal emperor at that particular time, he was Jahadar Shah in 1713. Okay, and these two rulers, they got the Subedari of Gujarat and Malwa. Raja Ajit Singh got the governorship of Gujarat, and Savai Raja Jai Singh got of Amer became the governor of Malwa. Nagpur was conquered by Jodhpur, and Amer seized a large portion of Bundi. Raja Jai Singh of Amer had founded his own new capital at Jaipur. So after getting the governorship there in Gujarat and Malwa, they both started expanding their areas. Nagpur was conquered by Jodhpur, and Amer seized the large portion of Bundi. So in this how they started expanding their area also. And then Raja Jai Singh of Amer, he founded a new capital, that was Jaipur. Maratha expansion after 1740 put restriction on growth of Rajputs. When they were expanding their areas near about 1740, when Marathas, they were powerful in South India, so gave the restriction to these two powers to go beyond to the areas that they were ruling. So this is all about how the Watan Jagirs of Rajput, especially Jodhpur, the ruler of Jodhpur Raja Ajit Singh, and the ruler of Amer Savai Raja Jai Singh. So in this how they got different powers in their hand at the time of Mughal Empire. So this is also the reason that Mughal emperors, they became weaker one. The next is about seizing independence. How the different other areas, they were also seizing the independence. The third group included states which were of different sizes and had become independent of the Mughals after a long struggle. These included Marathas, Sikhs, and Jats. So these different states, they after a long struggle with the Mughals, they also became independent one from the Mughal emperors. Now one by one we take about all these all three independent states. The Sikhs, the organization of the Sikhs into a political community during the 17th century helped in regional state building in Punjab. The Sikhs area, if we talk about, that was the Punjab area. Now also if we talk about the Sikh people, most of the they are centered there in the Punjab area. So the political community during the 17th century helped in regional state building in Punjab by the Sikhs. Then several wars were fought by Guru Gobind Singh against the Rajputs and Mughal rulers. Guru Gobind Singh was the 10th Guru of Sikhs. He founded Khalsa in 1699. The Khalsa, very important, you can say, organization. They are in Sikhs, and they had a great pride in the Khalsa. So it was founded by Guru Gobind Singh, who was the 10th Guru of Sikhs, and it was founded in 1699 by Guru Gobind Singh. If we talk about the Gurus, there the first Guru of Sikhs was Guru Nanak Dev, and after then there are different Gurus they are having, and the Guru Gobind Singh, about whom we are talking, who founded Khalsa organization, that was Guru Gobind Singh, and he was the 10th Guru of Sikhs. Then the Khalsa rose in revolt against Mughal authority under Banda Bahadur's leadership. Banda Bahadur was the leader of that and declared the sovereign rule by the striking coins in the name of Guru Nanak and Guru Gobind Singh. Means he started coins of Guru Nanak and Guru Gobind Singh and established their own administration between Satluj and Jamuna. So, under the leadership of Banda Bahadur, the Khalsa rose the revolt against the Mughal authority, and for that what he did, the coins that he started, that were of Guru Gobind Singh and Guru Nanak Dev. Clear? They established their own administration, means they stopped following the administration by the Mughals. They declared, they established their own administration between Satluj and Jamuna. These are the names of two rivers basically there in Punjab. So between that part they declared their own administration, and then Banda Bahadur was captured in 1715 and executed there in 1716. So that the time period of Banda Bahadur, it was he there till 1716 only. After then, Sikhs established their own, that we already discussed, own administration between Satluj and Jamuna. Then in the 18th century, the Sikhs organized themselves into a number of bands called Jathas and later on Misals. Their combined force was known as Grand Army. So these are the names given to different bands. They organized themselves in different bands, the army bands you can say, and these different bands, they were known as Jathas, and later on they were the Misals. Their combined force, the people those were in force, that was known as the Grand Army. Then a system called Rakhi was introduced for protection to cultivators on the payment of tax of 20% of produce. One of the organization that was founded and its name was Rakhi, and what was given there, it was introduced just for the protection of cultivators or for the protection of farmers on the payment of tax of 20% on the produce. So this Rakhi, they were just for the protection of the cultivators. The Sikhs territory in the late 18th century extended from Indus to Jamuna. So earlier we talked about from Satluj to Jamuna. Now it is extended from that area from Indus to Jamuna. This was the you can see the area or the territory of Sikhs. They were divided under different rulers. Maharaja Ranjit Singh reunited all these groups and established his capital as Lahore in 1799. So earlier what was there? Different rulers were ruling there, but they all reunited in single group under Maharaja Ranjit Singh, and he established his own capital there of that complete Sikh community. It was Lahore in 1799. So this can be the question, when they made their capital at Lahore in 1799. Clear? This, or what was the capital of Sikhs? It was Lahore. Then the next is the Maratha. Sikhs community, Sikhs the province or the state, it was there in the western part of India, the Punjab area. If we talk about Marathas, they were there in the southern part, middle part of India, in Maharashtrian part. So how these Marathas became powerful? Just see. The Maratha kingdom was another powerful regional kingdom. Regional, different areas we can. Shivaji carved out a stable kingdom with the support of powerful warrior families, Deshmukh. So Shivaji, the famous ruler of Maratha, the brave ruler of Marathas, Shivaji, who carved out a stable kingdom there, and he got the support of a warrior family called Deshmukhs. The support of Deshmukhs, it was there with Shivaji. Shivaji was brave and a bold journal. Pune became the capital of Maratha kingdom. As we talked about that Lahore became capital of Sikhs, and here Pune became capital of Maratha kingdom. Then between 1720 and 1761 the Maratha Empire extended. So this was the time period when the Maratha Empire, it was expanding, means they were increasing their territory between 1720 to 1761. Malwa and Gujarat were seized from the Mughal. Malwa or Gujarat, two the prosperous provinces of that time, they were seized from Mughals by Marathas. Land revenue system of Marathas, how the taxes were taken from the farmers, or that the land revenue they collected. There were two famous system of land revenue collection. We'll discuss those system. Taxes collected by Marathas ruler in Deccan. So two were there. First was Chauth. 25% of the land revenue claimed by Jamidars under Marathas in Deccan was known as Chauth. So this was one of the tax or one land revenue that was collected by Jamidars in the Maratha territory in Deccan. And the second was Sardeshmukhi. It was 9 to 10% of the land revenue paid to the head revenue collector in the Deccan. So 25% the Jamidars they claimed, and 9 that was Chauth, and Sardeshmukhi 9 to 10% of land revenue paid to the head revenue collector in the Deccan, that was known as Sardeshmukhi. So these were different tax system, those were there in the Deccan at the time of Marathas. Now the Marathas developed an effective administration system also. Agriculture and trade was encouraged. So at the time of Maratha, the effective administrative system, it was made by them. Different people, different chiefs were there, and agriculture and trade was also encouraged by them. If we talk about the Bengal, Orissa in the east, and into Karnataka and Tamil Telugu countries in the south, these were not formally included in Maratha Empire, but were made to pay tribute as way of accepting Marathas' power. So what they are saying, that these different areas, they were not, you can say, under the territory of Maratha, but they were forced to pay tribute to these Maratha rulers, these Maratha kings. This allowed Marathas chiefs, or you can say Sardar, like Sindhyas of Gwalior, Gayakwad of Baroda, Bhosle of Nagpur, to raise powerful armies. So these were different chiefs there in different areas of Marathas. Sindhyas were there in Gwalior, Gayakwad were there in Baroda, Bhosle of Nagpur. They raised powerful armies because they now at this time their administration as well as the trade, it was improved. So they also raised their powerful armies there. The third one, it was the Jats. In the northern part of India, they established their state. The Jats rose to power from a small dominant village community to control a large part of Agra and Mathura, the Uttar Pradesh area, and then they expand the area even more than that. So that was the small dominant village community, and then the large part of area they had in their control of Agra and Mathura. They consolidated the power in 17th and 18th centuries under their leader Churamal to the west of Delhi. So what they are saying, who was the famous leader, or who was the great ruler of these Jats? He was Churamal. So under his leadership, they expanded their area to the west of Delhi, even means Haryana, the area of Haryana. They also increased their power in the west to Delhi, the portion of Haryana. So the Jats were prosperous agriculturists. The main work that was done by them, it was agriculture. So they were the developed agriculturists, you can say. Panipat and Ballabgarh became important trading centers. So name the trading centers of Jats. They were Panipat and Ballabgarh, both the parts of Haryana at present, you can say. So they became the famous or the important trading centers of the Jats. Then Surajmal, son of a Jat leader, Badal Singh, extended his empire and brought the territories of Agra, Mathura, Bharatpur, Meerut under his control. So, son of leader Badal Singh, the Surajmal, who was son of the Jat leader Badal Singh, he extended the empire from this Haryana's area to the Agra, Mathura, Bharatpur, Meerut under his control. This was the first Jat kingdom in the history of India that we are talking about. The first Jat kingdom, it was the French Revolution from 1789 to 1794. In the world history, it plays very important role. If we talk about the world history, so there we must know about the French Revolution. That was for the equality, basically for all the people working there, the peasants or the workers, those were there. So they demanded equality. Here if we talk about the French Revolution, during the French Revolution, middle class, peasants and artisans fought against the special rights enjoyed by the clergy and nobility. Means the people, the nobles, those were having the special rights. So they fought that a revolution was basically done against that, because they demanded the same rights for themselves also. Peasants or common people or the middle class people. The philosopher of French Revolution suggested that there should be equal law or opportunity for all. So that equality that in French Revolution basically it was given, and then after it spread in the different countries of the world. The equality, you can say the phenomena of equality. So this is all done with the chapter. As today we have covered with the topics Watan Jagis of Rajput, in which we talked about the ruler of Jodhpur and Amer. Then we have taken the seizing independence, where we talked about different small or the large states. Those became powerful, like Marathas, Sikhs we talk about, and Jats. So, and at last we had taken French Revolution. If we talk about the complete chapter, the main topics that we have covered, the first thing in the early 18th century, how the power of the Mughal Empire, it was declined. What was the reasons for decreasing their power, we talked about them. And especially if we talk about broadly the reasons The first reason, later rulers of the Mughals, they were very weak. Second, we can say the number of foreign invasion, they also made them weaker one. And the third, the new emergence of the new state, clear, and different revolts of the peasants or jamidars, they were unable to, the later rulers of Mughals, they were unable to have control over the nobles. So these were the reasons for that. Then we had taken the emergence of new states, in which three groups we had taken. The old Mughal provinces, those became independent one, in which Awadh, Hyderabad, and the third one Bengal. Then the second Watan Jagirs under Rajput we had done, and third obviously the new seizing independence, in which the new states those came in exist were Marathas, Sikhs, and Jats. So I hope that these all topics are clear to you. Now it's time for homework. Today there is the assignment in the homework. Fill in the blanks. Aurangzeb fought a protracted war in the dash. Then, in the 18th century, the Sikhs organized themselves into a number of bands called Umara and Jagirdars constituted the powerful sections of the Mughals dash. That Asaf Jahan was given large charge of Deccan Subedari in dash. The founder of Awadh Nawabi was Burhan ul Mulk dash. Here the name you have to write. Then group of highly mobile peasants or peasants pastoralists, or you can say Kunbis, provided the backbone to the army, to the dash army. Then the question 2, who was Jawahar Singh? When was Khalsa established? When was Banda Bahadur captured and executed? Then when was the third battle of Panipat fought? When was Maratha successfully reached Delhi? Then where did Savai Raja Jai Singh found his new capital? Name the ruler under whose leadership the Jats became powerful. Then name two important trading centers in the area dominated by Jats. When was the result of what was the result of Aurangzeb's long war in the Deccan? That why was system called Rakhi introduced? The next question it is, what was Chaudh? One of the type of the revenue collection. What was Sardesh Mukhi? That is also what was geographical and economic importance of Awadh? Why did the Nawab of Awadh and Bengal try to do away with the Jagirdari system? And number 16, who seized the rich province of the Punjab and the Sarkar of Sirhind from Mughals in middle of the 17th century? So these questions you'll attempt, and there will be the pen paper test of this chapter. So revise the short questions as one of the assignment we have already taken, and other than that you can frame the different short questions for the revision of the test. So that's it for today. Thank you and have a nice day.